Hey guys, and welcome back to the Franchise Tagged podcast. It is season 3, episode 7. Wonderful day here today, and we are going to be letting you know that we exist wherever you get your podcasts. So go ahead and check us out
We exist.
through our link tree down in the description and down below if you would like to check us out and get us through your ear holes instead of through your eye holes. And we will get things kicked off with our week 8 recap before going into a bit of some power rankings that we wanted to do, all
Mm-hmm.
32 teams, and then kind of send you on your way after that. So you
Yeah.
want to kick us
Well,
off with Thursday night?
no, I'm gonna let you kick us off with Thursday night, but I do want to say, in relation to those power rankings, nice little mid-season mark to get these done. We did our preseason. We didn't do power rankings, but we did like here's our tiers. Who's gonna be vying for playoffs, and I think, kind of gonna go back and recap what that looked like. At the end of that power rankings to see what things changed so where things changed so dramatically. But
Yeah.
stay tuned for that later. I'll go ahead and let you kick us off into TNF.
Yeah. So Thursday night was the Vikings Chargers. That was, rough game for the Vikings. Honestly, they've had a bit of a rough season so far. Carson Wentz is now out for the year with a torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. So fun fact, he tore that labrum in week 5, halfway through the game in London in week 5, and now we're just past week 8, and he's finally getting surgery on that injury. So I, the only thing that I really want to discuss from this game, specifically about the Vikings, how bad is JJ McCarthy that they're willing to trot out Carson Wentz, of all people, with a dislocated
Yeah.
shoulder, torn labrum, like fractured socket, like all of this stuff. How bad is JJ McCarthy?
No, it's ridiculous because it's not even a player that's like, oh yeah, no, this is a player that can do this stuff, right? We really need him out there. It's not like you're sending out like Josh Allen with some injury because he's your quarterback and you have to have him so you can perform at all anything. No, this is just a guy tweaked his ankle prior. You're like, all right, you can sit on the bench for a little bit. We're gonna let this other guy take over. That other guy gets obliterated, and you're like, yeah, so you're gonna stay out there because this guy, his ankle is just it's toast. It's just done for. He can't handle this. Um, yeah, I mean McCarthy had one good quarter out of 2 games. Um, he I don't even know really what it you know. Thinking back, I can't recall. Oh, what? Here's the issue. Obviously, he was holding on to the ball too long, or oh, the offensive line wasn't giving him time, so he was running like it felt like in those first few games, it was just like the Vikings as a whole of an offense. Like the run game's never really that present, but then it was, and then they lost Aaron Jones, and so it's kind of just like, all right, JJ, we're gonna still send you right back into the fray after having you sidelined for 2 months here, just about a month and a half, and you're gonna have to go. I think we're playing them at home, like they are hosting the Lions, or the Lions are hosting them. The Lions are
Uh,
hosting them. So hey, you know,
Welcome
second year
back, JJ.
player with 2 games under your belt, go play one of the top of the NFC games at their stadium, and surely this is gonna look better than it did week 1 and 2. Surely.
Surely, right? Yeah, I'm at a loss. I think it's so funny that the Vikings had a passable offense with Kirk Cousins, and now
Hmm.
he's proven to not be as anywhere near as good.
Well, yeah, he
With
did have the Achilles thing that he had to rehab cut through, and he's coming back from
Yeah,
that. So there's
there's an
issues there.
excuse there, but
Hmm.
even this week he did not play well.
Hmm.
And then they had Sam Darnold, who is now cooking in Seattle, and they had Daniel Jones on their roster, who is now cooking in Indianapolis. And so they had 2 options. They could have just kept Daniel Jones. They could have. He would have been free. He would have been very cheap to keep. But they invested that top 10 pick in JJ McCarthy, and they're kind of living with with the consequences of their actions now. And it's as a fan of no team in the NFC North, it's truly wonderful to watch from the outside, to just be like, wow, this is what it's like to watch a dumpster fire from from afar, huh?
No, it's yeah, honestly, it's like the money part of all of this, they can't pay Darnold to come back. They didn't want to pay Kirk Cousins, and they were like, they still found success with Darnold. You know, they didn't have to pay Kirk Cousins a load of money to have success, and that really felt like this was something that was going to continue into this year when you've got a rookie who sat on the sideline and was able to hold a clipboard and get coached up and see it all in front of him, and then to have it land how it is this far. And really, I do hope. I mean, JJ McCarthy coming back to Michigan to play this game. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of people in attendance of the game. Hopefully, he does ball out and he gets out of the slump that has been those first 2 games of the year for him. But at the same time, with his ankle stuff, like maybe it was pretty serious, and maybe they're gonna kind of be forcing him early here because of Wentz. Like maybe that's why they held Wentz in, was because they want to make sure McCarthy's good to go. Um, I mean, especially with how much JJ was getting sacked in those first 2 games, you don't want to send the guy out with a bum ankle and then have him get that ankle landed on in the pocket. So yeah, obviously we're not talking at all about the Chargers in this little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna
Chargers
say
they did good. Good
they
job,
did. They're a
Justin
bit of
Herbert.
an enigma. They lost to the Giants. They've beat the Chiefs and the and the Vikings pretty well. They beat the Vikings pretty handedly. They beat the Chiefs early in the season. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what to think about the Chargers at this point. But we'll get a little bit more into that and our feelings on the Chargers in our segment with the power rankings. But
Mm-hmm.
if you would like to move on into Sunday with the Jets and Bengals, the Bengals defense, man, genuinely just horrid. They made Justin Fields look good.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I feel like the Jets' offense has just been like, it's been a dumpster fire, of course, but they've lit up the scoreboard against the Steelers, and then they kept it very competitive against the Buccaneers, and sometimes they can score a lot. And then the past 2 weeks happened where they had, you know, 10 points and then 6 points. Um, just not productive offense whatsoever. And then they come around and they drop 39 in this win. And I mean, I remember I was keeping my eye on this one, of course. And, maybe it's all predicated off of the back of, the run game. They have to run their brand of football. And so when, Brees Hall gets 7 a carry, yeah, the offense is probably going to be good. And then other times throughout the year when he's done good, it's been those kind of high scoring games for them. He had 100 in the season opener. He had 113 against the Cowboys, and that's especially shocking when this is a team that's been playing from behind so much. So when you're running back and the carries kind of lean away from you when you're down so big, yeah, it's going to be hard to be the driving force. And they were down big in this game, and they still gave the ball to Brees. He went ahead, he scored for them, and then it kind of teed everything up perfectly for them to go down, score again off of his arm. Shockingly,
Yeah, that was
definitely some of that Lions coaching tree going on there.
right. That was a little bit surprising. I mean, we've seen the past few weeks. It's been very limited Justin Fields throwing action. It's like
Mhm.
sub 100 yards every week. There was the game where he had negative 10 net yards with the sacks and
Mhm.
the like 40 passing yards. Like it's been crazy. And then this week he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go chuck that thing around and
Mhm.
do that more. Like just let him throw it.
Well, I'll
Let him.
tell you what. I wonder if him having not being sacked because of this atrocious Bengals defense, like you give the guy a safe pot. Like, sure, when he's sacked 9 times, probably not going to have a great net passing game. Now, -10, that's a lot, but still, at a bare minimum, just the the vocal, you know, opinion from the owner about who was going to be starting this week, and it really felt like the whole week. Every day I'm seeing like Aaron Glenn denies to mention who's going to be quarterback one for the team, and I was like, so it's going to be Fields. Like he doesn't want to come out and say that. He doesn't want everyone to be like, oh, let's prepare for a running game from Justin Fields. Um, but that's Let's prepare for Tyrod Taylor and not worry about the running threat at quarterback at all.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, if it was Tyrod, right? And they prepare for a rushing quarterback and then it's Tyrod. I feel like they don't lose anything. But if they prepare for a rushing attack and or if they don't and then it is Field, yeah, you've kind of lost a good bit of the game planning there. So
Yeah,
I
so
feel
so
like
theoretically,
regardless they're gonna be, planning for the running quarterback and you just kind of played this cat
you
and mouse
forget
game.
you forget that this is the Bengals we're talking about. Malpractice at its finest on the defense. So they were not preparing for anything. They were eating crayons in the practice field.
All right, you want to talk about malpractice when the Jets just got their first win?
You
The
want to talk
coaching
about
malpractice from weeks
malpractice?
prior.
We can talk about the next game on the docket.
Hmm.
Myles Garrett. I don't know if you saw. He had 5 sacks.
Whoa, I didn't
Yeah,
see. I saw a few clips of him getting sacks, and I was like, oh wow, so he probably had like 2 sacks on the day. Pretty good
five,
week for him.
five
Okay.
on the day. He had 2 against Will Campbell, which I'm like, you know
Mm.
what? Will Campbell only let up 2 against Myles Garrett. We're cooking. Great fourth overall pick, All Pro, Hall of Famer. Um, that's like he was so pissed on the sideline because they were losing, and I'm
Campbell, as
like,
I take it.
huh?
Garrett or Campbell?
Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett
Okay.
was so pissed on the sideline because the team was losing, and I find it so hard to feel bad for him because he demanded out and then signed a contract with the Browns. This is entirely his doing that he is in Cleveland rotting on the bench, putting up ungodly numbers and still losing games. Like this is the Browns organization. This is what you signed your record-breaking deal for. You did this
Hmm.
for the money, not for the wins. And I can understand that the Browns probably pitched him, look, we have a top pick, we're taking a quarterback. Haha, no they didn't. And then they were like, well, we're going to take a quarterback regardless. We're going to take one in this draft. We're going to have a new quarterback starting. It's going to be a new team. Kevin Stefanski is still a good coach. We're gonna have a good rushing attack. Quinshon Judkins is a great product of that.
I mean,
And
let's not lie. They're rookies outside of the quarterback rookies. They're
well,
doing pretty
we haven't
damn
even
good.
seen quarterback rookies. We've seen Dylan Gabriel, who we knew
Yeah,
was gonna
it's
be
A.
dog water,
Yeah.
and they're like, but Shador, we can't put him out there because he might actually be good, and then it'd look bad that we drafted Dylan Gabriel first. It's like, yeah, it already does look bad. It already does look bad that you drafted that guy in general. Like, I, the Browns are so trash. I'm so glad we whooped them. Like, they're, like I said, if the Browns had pitched Myles Garrett, look, we will be a winning football team. I don't know why he would have believed them, but in that case, in that sense, if they were able to legitimately make a good pitch for why they would be a successful team, then I can start to kind of feel a little bad for him being let down by them. But dude's been let down by them his entire career. Like they
Yeah,
traded away
he knew
Baker.
better. He knew what he
Yeah,
was getting into.
he should have. He should have. And that's why I can't feel bad for him. He put up 5 sacks against our across our entire O line, and that I believe that's the most sacks we've let up all season, which is remarkable because game wise we let up 6, I believe. So it was 5 to Myles Garrett and just one other random sack. But yeah, Patriots are rolling. They really are. They won that game.
It's been five
Kayshawn
in a row
Booty
now.
Drake May connection is so beautiful. Diggs got his first touchdown. We we're doing so good. We're so back. And I see all
We
these,
are
oh
for
my
sure.
God. I see all these Patriots Twitter accounts that are like, after 5 long years, we're finally back. And I'm like, dog. I just feel bad.
5 long
I
years.
just feel bad because it wasn't even 5 long years. We were good in 21 as well when we had Mac Jones.
Yeah, rookie of the year. I'm not even. I don't think he can run that, but Pro Bowler Mac Jones. Asterisks,
Josh
asterisks, asterisks.
McDaniels, Mac Jones.
No, honestly, it's like I like seeing the Patriots under this new regime have success because the old regime was stuffy and blue chunks. So I can actually root for this regime. Young, you got Vrabel there. It's kind of Cinderella story esque with Vrabel and coaching his you know career team, and so it's just like pretty neat. Whereas Belichick and his drafting style and his coaching style and his uh, next Sunday, you'll see on Sunday, and his hoodies. Um, Not a real open, impressionable, like not a welcoming guy in that building. He didn't offer up a lot of information.
I mean, that was part of the reason for the success. But yeah, no, I get what you mean, and I do like this regime more than I like the last one. I think
The
because
last one, because are we
oh,
counting Mayo as a
fuck no,
regime?
fuck no, we're not. I didn't really love watching the Belichick led Patriots play football. Honestly, like
Yeah, it's nice and
even
boring.
even with Brady, they played extremely good football, but it was not the most fun football
Flashy.
to watch. It wasn't flashy, and this Patriots regime isn't like the flashiest either. But we've got the deep shots. We've got the connection with the deep shots to Keyshawn Booty and the scrambleability of Drake May that just wasn't there with Brady. And so it's really interesting to see. It's really fun to watch this team at least, and I think also it has to do with the fact that when Brady was on the Patriots, I was at oldest 15, so I probably just wasn't appreciating the greatness that I was watching as much. But um,
Fair enough.
yeah, so I just poor Myles Garrett, but also not poor Myles Garrett. He's a very rich man, so so
Yeah,
let's
and you know what? He's probably chasing an individual award. So what's it matter? He didn't go into the season thinking we were a Super Bowl team because no one on the Browns should have. Um, Now, getting into one of our last games here is Sunday Night Football. Packers at Steelers. This was a game that I really didn't want to watch. I was like, I'm rooting for a tie in this one. You know, I don't want to see the Packers win, improve their record, and we have to, you know, of course, in the same division, compete with that record. And then the Steelers half of it, I was like, why do I want to see Aaron Rodgers win against the Packers? I want this is a guy who should have retired, went out with the Packers and the dream, you know, arm around Randall Cobb, and you know he didn't, and he's paid his due since. I will say this was like my first deeper look. I didn't watch the full game, got busy, but my full like deeper look at you know how the Steelers offense looks, how Aaron Rodgers has looked, and it definitely feels like a return to things prior, things that he wasn't doing even the second half of last season when he got Devontae over on the Jets. It you know it does feel like a return to form. Obviously, not a return to like the MVP caliber form of forever ago, but what feels like forever ago is probably what 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah.
But you know, I early on, I think it was their first offensive. It could have been their second offensive drive. Um, but he scrambles to the right of the pocket, and the just missile that launched from his arm
To Roman Wilson,
that
yeah.
was like like a 40-yard pass. It was the velocity on that. Just I was like, holy shit, he's still got that arm.
Yeah,
Like
he's still slinging it. And I
it.
earlier this season I talked about how I didn't think he looked good. I think it was after like week 1 or 2. I watched it was the Steelers Jets game, and I watched that and I was like,
Yeah,
he's not
one.
good. He's not a good player anymore. This was a different player from that game. This was a different Aaron Rodgers. So week 1 he looked
Yeah,
awful.
I
This
mean,
week,
locked in for sure for this freaking matchup.
yeah, and the other thing I'll say, I think this was his first time playing against the Packers because I don't think the Jets did last year and the year
Hmm.
before he was injured. So this is the first time that he was playing against his former team. And for all the shit I give him, for all the like amount I don't like him, he does deserve his props because he does have a healthy relationship with Jordan Love. He was mad when they
Yeah,
drafted him, obviously, because he just won an MVP and you drafted a quarterback in the first round. Like, what are you doing,
yeah.
Packers? But at the same time, when he was drafted, it was a somewhat similar situation with Brett Favre still playing at the top of his game, and they
Hmm.
drafted Aaron Rodgers, and Favre was not a mentor. Favre was like notoriously a dick to Aaron Rodgers, and Rodgers was like, I don't want Jordan Love to go through that. So they actually did have that. Like, he was a huge mentor to Jordan Love and a
Hmm.
big part of why he's good today. So I do think he deserves his props for kind of taking Jordan Love under his wing, even though it's really shitty of the team to make him do that at that point in his career when he's still putting up MVP numbers. So
Yeah. It's
Um,
kind of like holding the door for him to like leave. It's like, all right, here's retirement right here.
yeah,
Um,
and he's like,
Go ahead,
but
coach him up, and we're
but I
holding the
just
door for
threw
you.
42 touchdowns and 2
You can leave.
interceptions.
You can you can leave right there.
But the touchdown to interception ratio, passer rating.
Yeah. It was fun though seeing the duel. I'll say, of course, I didn't want anyone to win. Wanted a tie. Could have been if it could have gone like the full 10 minutes of overtime. I'd be like, good, no one's winning. Um, but really, I gotta say, Jordan Love did light it up. Like,
And Tucker Kraft too. Tucker
it's
Kraft,
not at
big
all
part.
a yeah, true. Big part of that with just an absurd amount of points there. This came right after you dropped him in fantasy, right?
Yes, yes, it did, and that is why. And it's also National Tight Ends Day, so I probably should have
Yeah.
just stocked up on tight ends in
Yeah,
fantasy.
three of them. True.
Started them all in the
Um,
flex position. Like, anyways,
anyways, we digress. Yeah, just a big game on tight ends day, and Jordan Love knows how to sling it, and I'm not looking forward to the next 10 years of that in the division. But
yeah,
we'll round off our recap with the Chiefs game, the Washington Commanders at Chiefs. This was about as you would expect it to go, with Marcus Mariota making the start there. I will say those interceptions from Mahomes early on did kind of put up warning signs. Now the Kelsey drop into, I guess it's I would consider it a drop, but it's like popped out of his hands
yeah,
over
I
him,
saw
so it's like
it.
a
Yeah.
tipped up. But you know, he's really been doing that. Just like, okay, twice this year. There's definitely been like at least two instances I recall from last year. What the hell? Like,
Yeah, sure hands
what?
Kelsey not so sure of his hands anymore.
No, and it's funny because after that interception on the broadcast, they did throw up like since week 2 or since week 3 or 4, it was some since a week. Um, Kelsey has one of the best catch percentages of the league, and it's
Jinxing
like,
him.
well,
You're jinxing him.
not that one.
Yeah.
Like,
The Commanders also had
um,
one. It was it Debo that dropped one into the defender's lap? It was the same thing where he just like bounced off his hands into the defender. It was a screen pass off to the left side.
very well could have been. I don't recall seeing it,
I
but
saw it this morning. I saw a clip of it this morning, so I'm but
fairly certain
it
Debo.
was the same thing where it was just I was scrolling through Twitter as I typically do before we record, just because I want
Mm-hmm.
to see any
Brain
up
rot.
to date
Yeah.
lines or anything like that. I want to see some highlights and stuff.
Mm.
And I saw that and it was like, this is why we should have a stat called wide receiver turnovers or something like that, where like
Yeah.
a receiver drops it into an interception. And that's one of those things where
Forced
it's like,
turnover.
that's one of those things where it's like, it's not really on the quarterback, but at the same time, it's so iffy to put that on the receiver because once you
Ball
create
placement.
that stat, once you create that stat, it's like, okay, how do you officiate it? How do you call it what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And because of how many different things we have and the different fantasy apps, like
Yeah, this
I
is just a fantasy football led agenda.
it truly is. But also it is. I can see it from the quarterback's perspective because if I'm
Yeah.
Drake May and I'm having this insane season of touchdown interception ratio, not as insane as like an Aaron Rodgers season, but those are inhuman ayahuasca led. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
we don't focus on those.
Drug
But I'm
abuse.
I'm having this crazy season where I've got like 3 interceptions on the year, and I hit Hunter Henry in the hands, and he drops it to the defense. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be a little mad that my interception total went up to 4. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and for MVP cases, it's so predicated on stats now that you want the highest ratio possible. You want the best QBR possible. You want or passer rating. Sorry, not QBR. My bad. Um, but I get from a quarterback's perspective why you would want to kind of take those interceptions off your stat sheet. And it's just one of those things where because of all the different fantasy apps and all the different betting apps, it would be so hard to count it for what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Because you would have people that are like, well, actually, the quarterback threw it way too hard, so it actually was an interception. Or he let him just a little bit too much. Just because it touches the receiver's hands doesn't mean it's a receiver turnover. Like,
Yeah.
there would have to be such specific rules on how to count it in the stat sheet, and that just won't happen. So, as
No.
much as I would love to see that for taking some blame off quarterbacks for interceptions, I don't think we can feasibly.
Yeah. At that point, you just gotta like, if you're gonna be betting on it, you know, you're already opening yourself up to risk. Just accept the risk that comes with, oh, but my quarterback, I picked him to not have any interceptions, and then this guy dropped it, and someone else intercepted it off of his drop,
Yeah.
and you open yourself up to that risk. It's the, you know, cry harder or call that hotline.
Call
Um,
the hotline specifically. But yeah,
specifically,
that's.
um,
Do you have anything else from that game or any other games
I
throughout the
want
weekend you
to I
want to
want to
mention?
shout out Terry McLaurin because those were some catches, quite the catches. Yeah, that's just kind of like what he does, and unfortunately, they, you know, with Jaden Daniels' uh, health so far this season, and that hasn't really been able to fully be unlocked the way that it felt like it was last year, where he's more of a, and obviously Terry McLaurin's own health, but where he was more of a consistent, threat and less so of a like, oh, every game he's gonna have one of these catches. Because man, it was every damn game before Jaden Daniels came to town. Through the Dwayne Haskins era, RIP, and just all of the quarterbacks they went through. Like, yeah, he was having to make some difficult catches, and every time he was making them, and
Yeah.
that's a sure-handed guy. You would have just had hoped that he would have kind of exploded more since having uh, Jaden Daniels, definitely an offensive rookie of the year caliber of quarterback. Um, but at least he's still doing that one thing that he does great. He's doing it great, so can't be mad at that.
Three, two, one. So we are going to transition over into our little segment video. So I'm going to intro this as if it were just a standalone video because, again, this is our segment video, and you can see our power rankings on the left side. But let's get into it in three, two, one. We are about halfway through the NFL season, and I think it's time we do some power rankings. So we've got this tier list on the left side. It has different tiers from 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, and 26 to 32. We're going to be starting at the bottom tier. We have already sectioned off the teams into the bottom 8 teams, the top 8 teams, and the mid 16. So we already have our little sections for those, but you will not know what those look like until we put them on the sheet. And we are just going to discuss and get through who we think the worst and the best teams are, all the way ranked from 20 or from 32 to number 1. And do you have anybody in mind for the worst team in the league? Because I sure do.
I definitely do because I think starting first and foremost, if you have an interim head coach halfway through the year, you are the worst team um, in the league because you're the first one to nick something in the bud. Um, Obviously, they had the first overall pick last year, and they have it once again. That is the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, it is. And so I'm going to be adding them to this bottom tier. After I add more teams, the Titans will be over on the very bottom far right.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be in last position at 32, but right now they're the only team on that tier. So moving up, I think the next worst team to me is going to be the Saints. I don't know if you've got another team in mind that you think is worse, but I think the Saints are probably the second worst, at
Yeah,
least now.
especially I mean, I've got that little bit of a Aaron Glenn bias on my in my heart and my mind. I can definitely agree to the Saints there. They
Yeah.
they have no rhythm. They have no identity. They're they're just a rough kind of roster where they're aging up too fast to be competitive with, and we've mentioned their cap issues and why that means that they can't bring in new young talent outside of the draft, and their draft history is muddied. So
Yeah.
definitely the Saints as the second worst. And now I think this is when things actually start opening up to being
Uh,
a question.
I think we got one more gimme, and I think that's the Jets. I do think the Jets are the third worst team in the league. They did just win, so I think they do deserve props for that. But it was against the Bengals defense, and any team can look good against the Bengals defense. So I think that is the next worst. I could see the Browns, but I do think the Jets are a little bit worse.
Yeah, I especially with I will say the fact that they benched Justin Fields for any reason, and then they've gone back to him, and of course that went as it did. But those like quarterback questions, as soon as they start looming, they are an issue to be there. Um, so yeah, despite being competitive in a good few games, just the fact that there's so much noise around it definitely would lean to being like, okay, this is one of the worst teams, and they've had some injuries, and they're not looking good even when they're not fully healthy. So I can agree to the Jets there.
All right. Next up, now we're between, I think, probably Browns and Dolphins is who I'm between for these next
I
two. And the Dolphins did just win. The Browns did just lose.
the
So,
Raiders I want to throw into the mix to also be here.
okay.
Um,
That's fair. That's fair.
just
The
not
Raiders are so
not
the
optimizing what
Raiders
they
are so
have.
weird. Exactly, because they went all in on this year. It feels like, or on like the next 2 or 3 years, and
Hmm.
it just didn't
Yeah.
work. Like they got Geno, who's not an old quarterback by any means, but he's definitely not young.
Hmm.
They got Pete Carroll, who's an old head coach, and it feels like their window. They set themselves up for a window of 2 years, and they're not good
No.
right now. So it does feel like it's like I don't think they're worse than the Dolphins. I will say I don't think that they are a worse team than the Miami Dolphins, but they're probably set up a little worse just because of how much they're bought into the right now. Um,
Yeah.
and
That
while I don't think they're a worse team than the Dolphins, I don't think they're much better. So if you wanna throw them here
I'll do
at
one. Yeah, I think I lean in favor of the Dolphins. Um, be like they've played pretty similar matchups. But the Dolphins are in a much tougher division. With Bills and the Patriots in there, so they
I mean shit, the Raiders aren't in an easy division either. That's a
yes,
rough spot too.
yes, but they've yet to play Denver at all. So they've played KC and they just got absolutely slapped across left, right, center, backhanded, every which way they could. Um, and yeah, the Raiders' two wins are against Tennessee, who's below them on this list already, and week
And New
one, New
England.
England. So
Week 1 New England specifically.
yes,
So we
I
we ignore that game,
I
right?
suppose off of however high we're gonna put the Patriots, we kind of have to put the the team that beat them a little, give them that little nudge. So I'll lean with the Dolphins being worse than them. Um,
Okay,
and then do we want to
that's
go
fair.
Raiders or Browns? Is the question.
Um, I think the Browns are like I think they're doomed. I honestly think they're doomed. The Raiders, they could figure some
Well,
stuff
so
out,
here's the
but
thing though: is
they're
the
both kind
Browns
of
have
doomed.
like these young players, these running backs, and the middle linebacker. They're performing well,
That's
but it just
true.
doesn't matter because the rest of the team is the rest of the team. Now the
Yeah,
Raiders, they have Ashton Genty, a highly sought after quarterback running back from this past draft, and no O line to help him, and no O line to help Gino, and a bigger issue than I think the Browns have. Like through the rest of the season, do you have the Raiders picking up more wins than the Browns? And I think that answers the question for who you think would be in a worse spot here.
okay, we'll go Raiders then Browns
Yeah.
then. So from start to finish right now, we have the worst team number 32 Titans, 31 Saints, 30 Jets, 29 Dolphins, 28 Raiders, 27 Browns,
And who's the
and
last peg to fall into this category?
well the Cardinals
Yes.
and Giants. Those are
Those
the
are our
those are the
options
last two
here.
we've got here.
The Giants had flashes, and again with the I guess benefit of the doubt I gave to the Browns for having good rookie performances. The Giants have leaned on those good rookie performances. However, they had the is it just confirmed a dislocation for Gadabo?
Yes, but I believe out for the year anyways.
Yeesh, damn. Yeah, so you lose one of your you know the things you were looking forward to seeing there. I can definitely go with Cardinals under them. It feels like as I mentioned with the coach firing stuff going on, these are two teams very similar in that regard. I feel like Dable has just a slightly longer leash for who knows why, but I'll leave this in your hands because honestly, I could go either way.
Um,
I agree with it either way.
I think the Cardinals are in a worse position, but I think they're the better team. Actually, I don't even think they're in a worse position. they've got Marv, who's been, you know, less than great this year, but he's, maybe turning it around, and Trey McBride's there, and Kyler. I think, as much as it pains me to say, I think Kyler might be part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think rest of season I would take the Cardinals over the Giants if they went head to head. I think the Cardinals would win that game.
Yeah,
So,
rest of the season when Malik is out and Scadabo's out. Yeah,
which is what we're
yeah, that's what
ranking
we're
right now.
projecting
So
for. So yeah, I agree. I see that for sure. And so
okay,
then we'll put Cardinals at the first slot of that 21 to 25 tier. So they are 25th in our power rankings. And now things are open. We're out of
yeah,
our predetermined, like, here's the bottom of the barrel teams that we know are going to be down there. So now things are opened up, and we've got our mid 16. There's a lot of teams here. Where do you want to start?
I want to throw out a couple of names, and they may not be the most popular names, but I do think they deserve to be discussed down here at the bottom, and that is the Bengals and the Panthers and almost maybe the Bears. I don't think the Bears are that bad. I don't
No.
think they're like number 24, but I do think the Bengals are definitely way further down here than they expected to be heading into the season.
Yeah, I will say I'm gonna take the Bears out of this conversation. Um, I think we've got a good
I'm
few
just saying
more
that
to
because
go.
they just let up 30 to the Tyler Huntley led Ravens and lost that one. So
Yeah, and that does
it's a
hurt.
rough look. Yeah,
Does hurt your
but
odds there. I
thinking
can
Bengals here,
I
or
can go Bengals here. I mean,
that
they've
was
had
when we made
flashes.
the. I was gonna say when we made these like segmented sections,
Mm-hmm.
the Bengals were the team I looked at as the worst of of that mid 16 grouping. So
Mm-hmm.
that is
There's
one that I will.
there's Bengals and Texans. I do want to throw the Texans hat in the ring for this. Um, just for the Bengals at least have like the hope on the horizon of Joe Burrow can come back, and there's that like that you're hanging on the breath of. But the Texans have been disjointed, and they've picked up wins, but at the end of the day, it's kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh on them for the way that they've conducted themselves with the offensive line and CJ Stroud. Um,
They're coming off an 11-point win to the 49ers, who I don't really
mhm,
have down this far.
yeah,
So I think probably recency bias is helping a little bit with my like
not having them down
interpretation
here.
of how. Yeah, but I definitely think the Texans are not great, but I think there are worse teams. So um, I think maybe. Well, I actually don't even know if there are that many worse teams.
I know,
I can't
like they're
lie.
going to be coming up pretty quickly here in conversation. Um,
Yeah,
I will say, I think you make a valid point, and the Bengals giving up the first win to a team that we have third at the bottom there will have me put the Bengals here second, or
yeah,
24th, I should say.
right.
Um, and then, do we have someone to compete with the Texans for this next little hole? Um,
I'm so sorry to Jacob, but I'll throw the Commanders in the ring. Like
mm,
they're I know it's a Jaden Daniels is coming
yeah,
back kind of
it's an
situation.
injury issue as well with them. Um,
And I'll also put the Vikings up here. I thinking about it more, I think they're worse than the Bears. Just because that
yeah,
quarterback situation is so awful.
I mean, yeah, for
So
sure. I think another thing we're giving a lot of benefit to the doubt of, and this is why I lean. I'm bringing this up to give Washington that same benefit of the doubt that we're giving to this team that I'm about to say is the Baltimore Ravens. They're one in
yeah,
five, and
yeah,
they've been out of their
two and
quarterback,
five.
and so I think when you put Washington in the same thing, I think they've missed Jaden for two full games, and he stepped out early on another. So I think giving those two teams some benefit of the doubt. Um, I will say I dislike the Texans more than the Vikings right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I could concede the Texans being the next team up.
Yeah. And then
Um,
do we want to go
but
Vikings right after that?
I think yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Texans at 23, Vikings at 22. Um, I think so. The Ravens, I honestly, I'm a little higher on them rest of season because they'll be getting Lamar back,
Mhm.
and once they do that, they'll be fine. And they also have yet to play the Bengals, and that's a team that they're gonna light the scoreboard up on because they're the fucking Bengals. So they're gonna play them twice, so that's 2 free wins. And I like as much as I think um the Ravens are not great right now. I think they're not this bad. There are still, I believe, worse teams. I would take the Ravens over the Commanders. I would take the Ravens over the
Yeah, I
Falcons
don't
right
think
now, I
the
think.
Ravens are at all in conversation for being one of our next up here. I was bringing them
Okay.
up to give them the benefit of the to give the Commanders benefit of the doubt to get the Commanders out
Okay.
of that tier. Um, right now, with where we are right now, I could see the pains me to say, but the Panthers might be down here.
I'm going to throw up a team that uh it hurts me to
Are
say
you
this
okay?
just
Do we
because of how
both?
much I've vocally stated that I believe in
Uh huh.
them.
Falcon lever and
I think the
Panther
Falcons are
lever
worse
over
than the
here in pain.
Panthers. Well, it's not just that, but the Panthers dropped 30 on the Falcons. They
True,
won 30
true.
to
You're so
nothing.
right.
So I'm like, how can we put the Panthers below the Falcons? So I think we put the Falcons at 21 maybe. That hurts
That
so
hurts
bad
so
to
bad,
say.
but also it's gonna hurt me so bad to say let's put the Panthers at 20. um,
Are
oh,
we doing that? Are we going Falcons then Panthers?
I think yeah. Honestly, there's
Okay.
that hurts. That hurts because you believe in the Falcons a lot. I believe in the Panthers a lot. Maybe there's some Madden bias feeding into this because
Oh my
we
God,
had
I didn't even
we had
remember. I
such a
forgot about
long
that.
franchise that we did with the Falcons for him and the Panthers for me. So I think it is kind of that feeding into this. But
Oh, for sure. But
next up,
now I'm looking at the rest of the teams and I'm like, the Bears are here and I don't believe in them. The Commanders are here and I don't really believe in
you're letting the
them.
Cowboys
And
slide. You're letting the Cowboys not
the
get
Steelers are here.
mentioned.
The Cowboys are such a potent offense, and CD just came back, so I'm giving them a little bit of a
That little
push
headway.
upwards. I think they are the divider between the like bottom half and top half. I would be cool putting them right at 16 if it gets to that point, and I don't see any other teams. Um, but I think the Cowboys are better than the Bears. I think the Cowboys are better than the Commanders, and I think the Cowboys are better than the. I think they're right around 49ers level, but they're a little healthier because they actually have their injured star back, where the 49ers don't have Purdy back yet.
Hmm. Yeah, now I thought entering the second tier from the bottom was the difficult one. This is the difficult one because this is when we start
Yeah.
putting teams,
And
rightfully
I
down
just want
there.
to put this out there for everybody. There's implicit bias going into
Yeah,
this. There just is. We're two guys that share
it's
a
an
lot of
opinion.
opinions
Yeah.
about the NFL. So we're gonna agree with each other's opinions a lot of the times, and that is going to influence our rankings. That is why we are doing this power rankings, similar to how ESPN has done power rankings and NFL.com has power rankings and all these different sources. So this is not a I'm probably going to title it something like this, but this is not a definitive power ranking where this is guaranteed rest of season. This is how it's going to go. But if there's anything that y'all are taking issue with, please let us know down in the comments below. If we've like, even if it's just like you think two teams should be flipped, if you think the Raiders are worse than the Dolphins, then go ahead and drop that down in the comments below, and we'll try to respond to as many as we can, and kind of explain ourselves away a little further or agree with you that we probably made a bad decision. But next up, slightly better than the Panthers. Are we feeling a Steelers? Are we feeling a Commanders? Are we feeling because the Steelers we know are going to be 8-9 or 9-8. Like we just know they're gonna drop
Hey,
those
so that
games and
means
they're
that they have to
gonna
be closer to 16 than they are to 20.
yeah, but rest of season and they have a winning record right now, so they need
Okay.
to lose more
Ah,
games
I
than they
see. I
win
see.
for the rest of season. So
Um, I think we're giving the Ravens too much benefit of the doubt. They're currently 1-5.
2-5, but
Two and
that is
five.
fair.
Yeah,
They did
that's
just
fair.
win.
They
They did
did
just drop
just win.
30 on the Bears.
I keep forgetting about this past The game that
I
just
keep
happened.
forgetting about 3 days
Yeah.
ago.
um, uh,
I'm I'll agree based off record and how they've looked so far. I'll put the Ravens here, but I think if we're doing like
okay.
right now this second power rankings, Ravens are here. I agree. If we're doing rest of season power rankings,
Ravens, of
which we've
course,
kind
have to
of
have
been
that. Yeah,
referencing,
they need to have the added
okay,
help because they are, and
yeah,
And Lamar's coming back. When you get your MVP caliber quarterback back, I'm sure things will look better. I'll put the Commanders
yeah,
here. Sorry, Jacob.
Commanders here,
Yeah.
yeah. Shout out Jacob. Sorry about it, but they don't look great.
Man, there's been a slew of young quarterbacks in this. We got CJ, then we go to JJ McCarthy as the Vikings, and then you go to Penix, and then you go to Bryce, and now here we are on Jaden. Who's the next
Yeah,
young quarterback to follow?
and Joe Flacco, young buck on
That-
the Bengals over there. Um, yeah, I think
Might
I'm
have to
between
go.
Steelers and Ravens right now. I again I can
You've
see
moved
the
the Browns
Ravens.
up or the Bears up because the Ravens did just beat
That's
them.
another one I could see. They're so wishy-washy. I feel the same way about them as I do like the Chargers. Not quite. I feel a lot more strongly about the Chargers. I don't think they're on like the same level, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel the
Obviously,
same
with
way
where we
going into
rank
any
them.
game where I'm like they could win. They could pick this game up, but do I trust them to? Like not
Mm-hmm.
really. So, I guess I could go Bears here at this would be number 17 or no, 2019. So it would be 18.
Something doesn't feel right putting them below the Cowboys, but they did just lose.
I can yeah, yeah. What did the Cowboys do this past week? Did they win?
They lost to the Broncos, 24 to
Cowboys
44.
below Bears. Cowboys below Bears. Cowboys at 18.
All right, Cowboys at 18. Then Steelers, Bears. Where are we putting that 17? It's one of these two.
God, I hate the Steelers. I hate the Steelers so much, but that's
The
so
implicit
much
bias
personal
is
bias
slipping
that I
in.
can't
Yeah.
like. It's not implicit. It's very
Very much
implicit.
outward. Yeah. Damn it.
You know what?
Okay. We
Fuck it.
still have.
Bias.
Yeah. You let the bias run. Sorry about it. That one Steelers fan that gets mad.
Steelers, then Bears.
Yeah.
Bears at 16. Okay.
There's that 16.
And then I think
Feels fine.
we have to put the Ravens at 15. We
We
cannot
can't let them go any
than this
higher.
at 2
No,
and
you're so
5.
right. Like they picked up a win off the. I mean, the Bengals have been picking up wins off the back of the. But the defense looks horrific, and the Ravens has looked terrific and has also looked great. And it's just a wishy-washy kind of thing going on there. Now, with what we got left here, I want to throw the Jags next at 14.
Yeah. I don't have any problems with that.
And, I do want to say, shout out to the 49ers for doing what they've done with the amount of injuries that they have. But at the same time with that,
You think they're next up?
we can't let them get near the top 10. And
Yeah, that's fair.
with the quality of teams that I'm looking at right now, we're like, when you want to name the
there's
bottom,
only 5 left. If
Yeah.
there's 4 left if we put the 49ers here, which I think we do. So 49ers at 13.
but are the Seahawks better
and that
than
feels
them?
high. I think they are this much better than the 49ers, where they are the next team up on this power ranking. So
49ers than Seahawks.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, especially
So
with
Seahawks,
the injury stuff, like, gotta lean into that.
Yeah. 12 for the Seahawks, and then at 11,
The first one to not make the top 10. We got a lot of good teams in front of us. I'm going to read them out
Yeah.
for people following along. So we have both LA teams, the Chargers and the Rams, Buffalo Bills, Green Bay Packers, the Colts, New England, the Lions, Eagles, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a hard one to take one team out of.
I think because of the losses on their record, the Chargers are the one that sticks out to me.
Yeah.
They lost to the
Yeah,
Giants.
the Giants
and
lost
that's
there
just the mark.
Is what hurts them.
The and the Broncos are also a team where I'm like they are number 10. They are not number 9. They are worse than the Buccaneers. And to kind of, I guess that kind of spoils it. The last two teams outside of our top 8 that we had predetermined are the Broncos and Buccaneers. And I'm looking at those two and I'm like, there is one team here that is better than the other.
And they
So,
stand out amongst the rest of the crop. Like the
yeah.
Chargers, they've had their injury issues on that offensive line, so they have to get knocked down here. And then you run into the Broncos and the Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers had fantastic quarterback play through 6 weeks. Not so much as of the past 2 weeks, but the Broncos also just don't feel like they are that caliber of team. Um,
Yeah. And now we get into our top 8 because that's Broncos at 9 and, or sorry,
10.
Broncos at 10 and Bucks at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get into the top 8. And I have a bit of a bold take, I guess. Well, actually, no. I
We'll
think.
see where the Patriots end up with where this
Oh,
falls.
I see. I think the Patriots are probably they're in my personal top 5. They're probably in my personal top 3, just because I think they can go out there against any opponent and win. But currently, their wins are not super strong. They have a cupcake schedule, but they also have a cupcake schedule rest of season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, if we're taking that into account, the Patriots got to be pretty high because they have an easy schedule and are a good team. Like
Mm-hmm.
we gotta kind of think
Yeah,
about
there's a
that.
few things to take into account. It's the the injuries, who's coming back for the rest of the year, how that might impact the team. There's the difficulty of their schedule coming up for the rest of the year, and then alongside both of those things, you need to also account for, how have they done up to this point against that easy schedule, and how have they done against good teams. Now, the
Yeah,
Patriots beat the Bills. That is the major push that they get here. So to keep
right.
them out of being number 8 and number 7 in my eyes, I
Yeah.
have to give them that
I
good
was
pick.
honestly going into it, I was expecting the Patriots to fall around number 6. That is the spot where I was expecting us to agree on them at.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously do have them a little higher. That's personal Patriots bias, but let's get into the team we think is number 8 because we can discuss the rest of them as we go. I'm gonna throw up the Eagles as a team that I have not been super impressed with. This past week was
Mm-hmm.
really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was another a strong rushing attack that we hadn't seen much of for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Saquon looked good again. Tank Bigsby put up 100 rushing yards. Like
Damn.
that was kind of crazy. So I guess recency would lead me to think they're a little bit better. The Colts are the team that like stick out so harshly, but they're so good. They're best record in the league.
Yeah.
Like that I can't put them at 8 because of that. And then there's the Bills. Like they've been so wishy-washy this year. They've the past few weeks have not been great from them, and then this past week they played the Panthers and it was pretty good. They did pretty well. James Cook finally got his touches and his yards, but I'm curious to see where your head's at because those are kind of I guess the Eagles, Bills. I don't like the Chiefs, so that's definitely my bias leading in there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. It
want to
feels
see what you're at.
like I want to throw Green Bay into the mix, but it's just because of the inconsistency that is the Jordan Love experience. He takes some risks. Um, they they do have some like handed wins, but okay, they're the past three:
Yeah,
Cincinnati, Arizona, and Pittsburgh. And where do those teams rank? Oh, they've also played Cleveland this year. Where did that team rank?
and lost to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like the Packers are the ones that stand out to me the most. Um,
Okay.
Looking at who's the one they're losing to, and what's the ones they're actually beating. What's the quality of team that they are beating here.
Oh, like the Lions?
Yeah. That's what offsets the Browns thing. But as I said, they've picked up
Yeah.
teams wins over teams that are in our bottom half here.
Yeah. I think also being in a tough division, rest of the season is not going to be super easy for them.
Yeah.
So I can see that. So Packers at number 8. That's
Mm-hmm.
our eighth team. I'm gonna throw the same two teams up that I had at 8, Eagles and Bills, as the two that I think are the most fraud watch here. I think the Rams are extremely good and in an easy division, so the rest of season can't be that difficult for them. the Chiefs are in a tough division, and I think they also are falling in the like 5 to 8 range or 4 to 8 range rather than the top three.
Hmm.
But again, my personal bias against the Chiefs is probably leaning into that a good bit.
I
Um,
feel like right now, what is the what's the last game? What's the schedule look like for the Bills? They beat Baltimore, obviously when Lamar was there, so that's not something to discredit them. Then they picked up 2 wins against New York and Miami. New Orleans, lost to New England, lost to Atlanta. It's going to be Bills here for me.
okay, yeah, that's the loss to Atlanta's tough because we
Honestly,
also we had Atlanta down
I
at
forgot
21.
about the Atlanta one. I think that puts
I
them
did
under the
too.
Packers. And
I'm here for it.
yeah,
So Bills at 8, Packers at 7.
yep.
I'm here for it.
Then we're looking at 6 here.
Say it.
I don't want to put New England here, damn it. But
I
looking at it, it's
if
I
we all right,
can't not.
okay.
I
I'll
don't
put it
want to,
this
but
way.
I can't not.
If we were going to watch a game where any team that you think deserves to go here is playing against any other team that's on this list,
Hmm.
do you think they would win?
That well,
Do you think the
the
Patriots
thing
would
with
beat the Colts head to head?
the thing with the rest of the list is all of these are the top caliber, so they could all it could go either way in any of them.
Yeah.
Um,
I am okay putting the Patriots here at 6. Again, this is where I expected them to be from the
hmm.
start. And the schedule is cake. So I do expect the Patriots to win like almost all of their games remaining on the schedule. But I can also understand that maybe they drop a game here or there because they have beat the bad teams and then also squeaked one out against the Bills. Like they did squeak one out against the Bills, which is impressive, but they've also been beating up on bad teams. So I'm not going to pretend that they're like
Yeah,
some
the
number
one
one.
like quality win that they have versus all of the easy ones shouldn't make up for the fact that they are first and foremost beating the cupcake ones. Um,
And that gets us into our top 5.
yes,
We're through 10 to 6. Patriots number 6, Packers number 7, Bills number 8, Bucks number 9, and Broncos number 10.
I think
Now,
next.
do we take the Colts and put them at 5 here, or do we put them higher because their record is so good and they have put up wins? Like, do we believe in Daniel Jones to not regress for the rest of the season? Is I guess what I'm asking.
Let me go ahead and take a peek at their schedule for the rest of the season because of course they picked up some easy ones, notably Vegas, Arizona, Miami, Tennessee twice. Um, and those are their easy ones. They're coming up against the Chiefs pretty shortly here. Um, they're in a pretty easy division. It's not going to be like it's like that Patriots talk where it's an easy schedule that they faced really and an easy schedule they have upcoming. Um, I think honestly I got to give them props. They're facing an easy schedule, but it's hard to win in the league, and it's hard to win the way they've been winning, which is you know winning in point differential throughout the league, leading the way there, just kind of having bigger wins. So I feel like the Colts are safe. Um,
Okay.
so
The Eagles
the Eagles,
historically this season scare me a little bit, like where they haven't been great. So I think they do have a little bit of that Super Bowl hangover. I think is what they're dealing with a bit here.
mhm.
And I think the Chiefs are also, like I said, I would plead to keep them out of the top 3.
And I think I can agree to the Chiefs being up here shortly. The difficult thing is, and I feel like a lot of it is bias that I just have. Um, the difficult thing here is that the Eagles beat the Chiefs when they went head to head. So, despite how I feel about the Eagles, I think the Chiefs have to be at 5 here, and then
The Eagles at
and
4.
then the Eagles at 4, which means that in the top 3 we would have the Rams, Colts, and Lions. And I don't know how that feels to you.
Exactly how we expected things to go entering the season. Rams, Colts, and Lions at the
That's
top of the
exactly what we
league.
had on
Um,
our Super Bowl contender list. Exactly, for sure.
yes. I did not say the Colts would lose all their games. I did not say
We
that.
did not have them in the not good tier. We didn't. I promise.
We didn't. That wasn't us. If you saw that, that was AI.
Deep faked, for sure.
I think I'm gonna throw out my top three. I think Colts 3, Rams 2, Lions 1.
I'm revisiting the Rams schedule right now. Houston, Tennessee, lost to Philadelphia. They beat Indianapolis.
Ooh.
They lost to San Fran, divisional, in overtime. I won't mark it against them that much. Then they handedly beat Baltimore and they handedly beat Jacksonville. Coming up, they're going to have a slate against the NFC South. So New Orleans, Carolina, there are going to be some easy ones to pick up. Atlanta, we'll see where that game's at. And they've got Arizona twice still coming up. So projecting rest of the year, Rams, I think, have a pretty easy schedule.
How does the Lions schedule look to you? Are you thinking we don't put them at 1, or are you thinking
They're in a tough division. They've got Green Bay, of course, again, Philadelphia. They got the Rams, and things are always competitive in division. So it's always, they've got a lot of division games coming up too. I'll put Colts at 1. Best record. They have the
Colts at
easiest
1?
schedule coming up. I'll have them at 1 throughout the rest of the season. Doesn't mean I have them as the Super Bowl winners, because when they face those tough competitions in the playoffs, that'll be its own issue. And then I'll go with Lions, then Rams. They face off
did they
against
play
each
head-to-head?
other. They do. Week 15.
Okay.
We've got a hot take list here. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we do. I would love to have the Patriots higher, but I just can't put them over the Super Bowl
Reigning.
champion
Yeah.
Eagles or the Super Bowl loser Chiefs. But yeah, that will do it for this segment. Way longer segment than we had planned going into this, but definitely check out the full length podcast dropping tomorrow, and we will get right back into that full length podcast right now. And we are back to the full length podcast, and we are going to go through some of our highlight games in week 9 and then get y'all out of here. Before we go into this, I do want to say, go ahead and click that Pick'ems link down in the description down below, and you can join us and play against us in Pick'ems. We are not doing great this season, so you do have a good chance to beat us. So go ahead and do that. Definitely compete against us, participate, and give us a run for our money,
Yes,
if you will.
For sure. Go ahead and beat the brakes off us. And heading into the week 9 games to highlight, I want to give a shout out to the Bears Bengals, just because it's going to be one of these ones. Like, we just saw the Bengals lose to the winless Jets. Now they're going against another coaching tree alum of Dan Campbell's. I'm just really interested to see if the Bears get a bounce back here against yet another backup quarterback-led team in the NFC North. So that's just my little bit of intrigue there. Then we get into the real heavy hitters with the Chiefs at Bills, which we know the Bills are going to win, and then they're going to meet in the playoffs, and the Bills will lose. So scripts out on that already, but it doesn't mean it won't make for an entertaining game. And then the last
Unfortunately, they won't actually play in the playoffs because the Patriots are going to beat the brakes off the Chiefs in the first round. So,
okay.
Just
prediction.
sorry to burst your bubble, but
you got
Patriots
the
are
script.
beating
You
the
read
brakes off the
further along.
Chiefs,
I don't want to
and-
spoil everything, so I just read a few pages
Yeah.
ahead. Clearly, you just
Well, I just wanted to
most
see
of it-
what
well,
happened to the Chiefs because I hate it.
you
So,
skipped to the
I
back
just
of
had
the
to
book. You're
know.
one of those guys, sicko.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then the last one to really call out here is going to be Cardinals at Cowboys, and this is in my own head, like, the Cardinals, they're not great. A lot of the teams are coming up on that window of like, all right, time to fire sale, get rid of everybody. And I feel like with Gannon and the way that the team has yet to really push past any level of competition that they've had the past few years, they've been consistently not great. And I feel like that puts the mark on Gannon. So when you have one of these primetime games where the media is going to definitely be in a frenzy otherwise, you kind of gotta lock in. You gotta manage to pull out a win in this one, so that way the noise isn't too loud from the front office. So Monday Night Football, that's one I would keep an eye out just for Gannon's sake.
Yeah. We will have another podcast as always next week, and this week is the trade deadline. So that trade deadline is coming up on November 4th, I believe, which is as we're recording the next podcast. So right after the end of this week's games, we will be the trade deadline. So if anything crazy happens, we'll react to that next week. And yeah, we thank you all for coming out here. I think that's all we got for y'all today. And with all of that said,
Deuces.